Alright, we're live. Find my intro.
This is the intro. Welcome to Late to the Party News.
And here we go. All right, what's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Late to the Party News. I, of course, am your host, John, the creative blue-collar guy, joined by our friend to the north, Salmon Outdoors, or Salmon Sticks, I guess is what you have written there now for us today, and Blair to Blair. Roman may or may not be joining us, but whatever. It might be more fun without him.
It always is, honestly. And because then we can trash talk him and he can't defend himself. So, not that he can defend himself anyways, but
he has been known to pop into the chat from time to time, which is funny, though, because we'll be talking about him and all of a sudden he'll be in the chat. I'm like, hey, I'm still here, fuckers.
Like, damn it, caught us.
Yeah, like he just like lurks in the background until
his ears are burning.
Yeah. So for this particular topic today, I was just saying backstage, I think that I have a strong sneaking suspicion that my channel and or Twitter account or X account, whatever the hell you want to call it, are probably shadow banned, may or may not be, but this is a topic that I definitely think the algorithm is not going to like. But I am drinking probably the perfect beer for it, called Flirting with Disaster. So here we are. We're flirting with disaster today. I am a born and raised Southern California native. Am I allowed to say that word? Am I allowed to say that I'm a native to Southern California?
No.
Oh, wow.
Nope.
But
you have to do a land acknowledgement now.
Oh, do I have to? Wait, okay. So
wait, do we have to do a land acknowledgement to John now?
I have to acknowledge that I am broadcasting from, no, fuck this shit. This is stupid. So I actually started, I think it was maybe Saturday night, I started watching the Daily Wire Matt Walsh Am I a Racist documentary that he put out. And I know, I know Matt Walsh. I know who he is. I know what kind of person he is. And when he makes these documentaries, I know his angle and what he's going for. But even the people that he was talking to, I was getting so angry and just being like, why do people like this actually exist?
Yes.
I started to kind of doze off, so I turned it off. I got to go back and finish it. But the funny thing to me, and we're already getting way off topic, but whatever. We're just kicking off here. We got a little bit of an intro to kind of keep things going. The majority of the people that he was talking to early on in the documentary were all very white, but then they want to educate other people on how we need to apologize and feel bad and all this stuff. It's like people like this really exist out in the world, and I was getting so angry watching this, even though I know the goal is for Matt Walsh to eventually kind of point the finger back and make fun of them. But I'm just like, this is so ridiculous. Why are these people so dumb?
Because they want your money. They want you to spend money for to make them feel justified, or I guess make you feel justified in your existence. I don't know, man. It's all just dumb and a money scam.
It was a lot. And and even then, like, don't get me wrong, like, I'm not like a huge Matt Walsh fan. Like, he says stuff that I don't like, and he says stuff that I don't
Agreed.
agree with. He's a little
He doesn't
extreme
like
on
anime.
certain-
I don't like him. I just can't trust
true.
a guy that doesn't like anime.
he's pretty extreme on a lot of things. Where even I'm kind of like, okay, like you need to pull the stick out of your ass a little bit, something. But like his like, what is a woman documentary, and now the like, am I racist documentary? And I'm like, this is just like it blows my mind that there's really people like this out there. But anyways, without getting way too off topic, we did have Lady Marine in the chat. She is currently busy on a phone call, but I'm sure she will be back in plenty of time to give us plenty
She
of
left.
shit. She was not here to tell us that I was starting late. So you
That's
missed
true.
out on your opportunity to tell me we're starting late.
I did it. It's okay. I got it.
We've got Jacob Ironside asking if he was early or late. I forget exactly which time zone you're in, if you're 2 hours or 3 hours ahead.
He's a couple hours ahead.
It's at least 2 or 3, because Blair, right? You're 2 hours ahead, right?
He's the same time zone as I am.
Okay, yeah. So 5, 6, 7. So always 7.
5, 6, 7, 8.
I can count. I can count. Hold on.
I can only count to 4.
So yeah, Jacob, it's always gonna be 7 o'clock your time. Just check with Blair, he'll let you know. But 5 o'clock California time. And Jay, the deep-minded, hello to you. Thank you for joining. Good to see you.
Hey, Jay.
Jacob, what you can do is the same thing I do every week, where I'm like, what time is it at again? Shoot, I don't remember. And then I just check YouTube, and YouTube tells me it's at 6 o'clock my time. And I'm like, right, 6 o'clock. Cool. All right. Because I forget every week.
Also, I just realized it's maybe not a huge big deal, but it's not showing our display names.
Oh, I think it's because you have Lady Marine up. Get rid of her. No one wants her here anyways. It's fine.
There we are.
Okay, so they disappear when the comments pull up. I've never noticed that before.
I've
been doing this for I've been doing this for a couple years now, and I never noticed that the display names go away when you pull up comments.
It's all
flirting with disaster is the best kind of flirting, and it's also a really good beer. Oh, thanks, Jacob. I appreciate you.
What kind of beer was that? Actually, I totally was not looking. Is that a hazy?
It's the West Coast IPA.
Okay.
I don't like the hazies, because the hazies are they're usually just like dumping bags of flour and all sorts of weird shit in there to like make it extra cloudy. Here's the thing. I come
I
from.
didn't realize that. That's funny.
I come from an area where people are very pretentious about their craft beer, and the way the whole hazy IPA thing came to be was smaller local breweries that didn't have big major manufacturing whatever. Their beers are basically just unfiltered.
Yeah,
and they were a little bit cloudy, kind of, but all of a sudden it became a trend. And there are literally breweries here in town that like, we're gonna add all sorts of extra shit to like make it look like full pulp orange juice, and it's like, no, that's gross. That's disgusting.
Unfiltered beer is good though.
Unfiltered beer is, yes, but like I don't want
the excess random stuff. Yeah.
But if I go somewhere and it's like hazy IPA and there's words like dank and juicy and whatever, I'm like, I don't want to drink that. I don't want that. Like, no.
There's one from Ontario that's really good. It's the juicy ass IPA. It's really good. Yeah.
Have one
it's
called
good,
Floaties.
There's one. There's a quadruple IPA, and it is absolutely terrible. I'm not gonna lie. I like
that's
IPAs.
Gotta be over. That's like double digits. That's got to be over 10%. Like,
oh yeah.
I try to keep if I'm drinking like IPAs and stuff, I try to keep them around 7% or below. Because anything more than that, it's like you can't. Like, you have one and then you can't function. Like,
11.6%. It's the Flying Monkey craft brewery.
You're almost drinking a glass of wine at that point.
It's not great. It's not great. They have other good beers, the Flying Monkeys, but that one is.
What's that old beer? Ice House? Wasn't that like 8%? That was like one of the biggest.
I always thought Ice House was like a light beer, like a Coors Light or like a Bud Light type of thing.
There is the Denmark Faxe beer, Faxe or Fakes. I don't know, whatever. It's 10%.
Faux beer.
Booty sweat. Dude, I stinking die sometimes when I walk into a liquor store or whatever, and I'm looking at the different types of beers. The names always just kill me.
So a nearby restaurant / tap house that I frequent has a beer on right now. It's same thing. It's an IPA, but the name is Dave's Not Here, Man. And that's one of those, like, if you know, you know, because
so
that's an old school Cheech and Chong. That's
Dave's
an
not
old
here,
Cheech and
man.
Chong bit. The man where he's like, oh, come on, man, like, open up. It's Dave. Oh, Dave's not here, man. No, it is Dave. Oh no, man, Dave's not here, man. Like,
Dave will be back. I'm Dave.
like, I'll admit, I am one of those people that, like, if a beer has like a really funny name, unless it's some weird style or like weird like double triple IPA 11% something that I don't want to drink, like if it has a funny name, I'm like, I'm probably gonna order that just because it's funny. There's another local brewery some years ago that I went in there and they had a bunch of like Star Wars names on their beers. Like one of them was like the 12 parsecs pale ale or something. And I'm like, just the fact that beer is called 12 parsecs pale ale, like that could be the worst beer I've ever drank in my life, but I'm gonna order it because it's a Star Wars reference.
Here are a couple beers that I have found recently. There is the Distilled Brewery Dill Pickle Sour Beer.
I saw that. Disgusting.
Let's see. There's the Dead Frog Brewery. They have one second. I lost it. There we go. It's a PB&J brew mix, and it has Nutty Uncle Peanut Butter Stout mixed with Raspberry Warhead Imperial Ale.
God,
that sounds terrible.
I've had some peanut butter stouts that are good, but when you started adding in the other descriptors, I was like, you kind of lost me. Like,
yeah. And then the Ghost Pepper Heffenweisen.
No.
Nothing that starts with Ghost Pepper is ever a good idea.
No, that's not true. I love Ghost Peppers. They're delicious. However, not in beer.
Not in beer.
No, thank you. I'm drinking a Guinness Nitro Cold Brew. That one sounds pretty good.
So far, not Dead Guy Ale.
Dead Guy Ale.
I've had that. Yeah.
I don't think I've had that one. What's there's
90s.
Voodoo Rangers pretty good.
It's made by Rogue Brewing that I think is it's like Portland, I think, or Seattle, somewhere like up like northwest.
Is it Zombie or Zombie Dust? Is the big IPA.
Zombie Dust. That one doesn't sound familiar. What's the one? I think it's like Stardust or something like that. Sounds familiar, but that's I think that's a different one.
Yeah, you guys have different breweries. Although I think Voodoo Rangers from the States, and we have that up here. That's kind of like
I forget exactly where that company is based, but yeah, Voodoo Rangers is a popular one. But that's one of those companies that said like they're gonna try to like make a beer using recycled sewage water to like make some point about climate change or something stupid. So I stopped buying their beers after that.
So it's literally piss water.
No, not even the quality of the like, oh, we're gonna use this water, like just the fact that they're like, oh, we're gonna do this to like make a statement. I'm like, you don't need my money anymore.
No.
Dogfish Head.
Good Dogfish.
Those are some good ones. I've had some Dogfish Head beers. Those are good.
I have never had that.
Who makes the Killian used to have a honey beer. Killian Red. They used to make a honey beer back, and that was really good. I like drinking that. It was nice and sweet.
I don't think I've had the honey one. I know like the Killian's Irish Red. I didn't know they made like other styles.
Yeah, back in the 90s, they used to make a honey.
I think I've seen that one.
You can't get it anymore. I don't think they make it anymore. That was a big thing back in the 90s.
It's just the regular Killians I've seen then.
Because that was back before they started putting all the different flavored Jack Daniels and,
Yeah.
Jaeger was a big thing. That was the Jaeger bombs and stuff back in the day.
So That's a funny one. So from my late teens, early 20s, when I would allegedly have to pay my roommate that was over 21 years of age to buy me alcohol. Me and my other roommates that were also only allegedly 19 to 20 years old would give him like a $20 bill, give me a $7.50 a Jaeger. And I mean,
I'm reporting this live stream.
We would
Illegal
get that
activity.
unscrew the cap and just start drinking the Jaeger straight. And I tell people these stories and they're like, oh my God, like that's so terrible. Like when I drank Jaeger, I would always get sick. I would always whatever. It's like I never got sick and I never threw up from drinking Jaeger. And I used to drink that straight like it was water. The first thing that finally ever made me actually throw up was vodka, and I hate vodka.
Mine was Crown.
But that's what happens when you go to a party where you're alternating between drinking Coors Lights and shots of Grey Goose vodka because you're trying to keep up. You're trying to keep up with the pretty blonde girl who wants to do shots of Grey Goose vodka with you, but she's only doing shots. But then you're also drinking beers in between. Bad idea. Don't recommend it.
Did you get drank under the table by a blonde girl? Come on.
She was only doing shots, and then her brother was only drinking Coors. I was drinking beers and shots, and it didn't go well. Long story short, don't drink to try to impress anyone because nothing ever goes good, and you wind up looking like an idiot, and you wind up passing out and barfing your guts out, and
beautiful.
It was not a good time, but you know.
And what did we learn?
I was young and dumb, and now I'm just old and dumb. And
this is Goldschlager to drink.
Goldschlager was a bad one too.
Oh man, I've had a lot of nights with Goldschlager.
I had a Jaeger, a Goldschlager, then a Woodchuck.
So Jacob, luckily, actually, even though I live like 20 minutes away from the border, this might shock a lot of people. I've never been outside of the country. I've never been to Mexico. I've been
to Canada.
I was gonna say he's never even come to visit me.
You live 20 minutes from TJ and you've never been there?
Never been. I've never had the desire.
What?
Let's be honest.
It was like the thing.
John would get mugged as soon as
when you were 18.
the border.
It's like when you were 18, it's like you went down to TJ and you partied. Well, when I was 18, I didn't really care. I didn't really drink or party that much. And then I turned 21 and I was like, well, now why do I need to go to Mexico? And then when I was about 23, I had a friend that I went to high school with. Big long story short, because we're really going off on some tangents here. A very good close friend of mine that I'm still friends with. She and her family got carjacked and kidnapped and basically dumped out and left for dead in the middle of nowhere. Everything on them was stolen: their trucks, their trailers, their purses, watches, wallets, phones, everything they had on them. Yeah, they almost died. It was bad. So
and that was just down the street from their house. Actually, they didn't even make it to Mexico. Yeah, that was just California.
Oh no, they were in Mexico for the Baja 500 races, and they were driving back up north. And when you're going through like the checkpoint at TJ, people will come through that look like the policia, and they go to pull you over, and all of a sudden they got ski masks and guns, and they're like, drive out to the middle of nowhere, and they take everything you have on you. So that's fun. People always try to be like, oh, it's not that bad down there. I'm like, let me tell you about my friend.
I'll tell you what.
All right, so all of that fun stuff aside, it is more important. No need to apologize. Family always comes first. But thanks for tuning in here once in a while just to let us know what you're up to. But we'll still be here when you're done, hopefully. Went to a border town in Mexico. Heard a week later on the news a gas man blew up on the streets I was on. Yeah, that sounds about right as well. So yeah, let's talk about LA. What
you get a fire?
I don't think I have any tinfoil currently in my apartment, so I couldn't make my my tinfoil hat. But like I said, I didn't really have like a set organized agenda here. I've kind of got just some general Google searches and stuff pulled up here, but what have you guys been seeing? What are your thoughts on Los Angeles burning down? I will say before I open it up, there actually have been a lot of people on Twitter that have been fighting back and forth of like people saying that, oh, like you guys deserve this, like, you know, screw Hollywood, screw California, whatever. And it's like, okay, you know what? Like at the end of the day, I get it. Like I live here. I live in California. This is my home state, born and bred. I'm ashamed of my home state.
Born and inbred.
Born and inbred. Yeah. Well, that's my family from Mississippi, but that's a different story. No, but it's like born and raised. This is my hometown. This is my home state. And I am very embarrassed of my home state for a lot of reasons, even before all of this stuff happened. But at the end of the day, I mean, okay, yeah, there's Hollywood, there's the celebrities, there's the this and that and the other, whatever. But there's a lot of normal people that lived in the Palisades area that were also losing everything, losing their entire homes, losing everything they've ever worked for, and they don't have the millions of dollars to go and buy another house. They don't have the vacation home to go and hang out in. So it's like, to anyone who's like, oh, you guys deserve this, we don't care about you, we whatever, it's like, that's a really shitty thing to say, because wishing ill will on anyone is never a good look. No matter how much you might hate someone, no matter how much you might think, you know, whatever, like that's it's never a good look being like, oh, you guys deserve this.
We talked about that before. It's never okay to wish death or like bad things on people.
No. Because there were a lot of celebrities that lost their homes. But again, like I said, they probably have multiple other homes that they could go to. But to the normal, average, everyday person, that it's like, our house is gone, our cars are gone, everything we've ever owned is gone. Like, what are those people?
My wife's cousin had to be evacuated. His house didn't burn down, but he said it's just full of ash and soot. It's an uninhabitable. He might end up having to basically take it down to the studs to get it repaired.
So it didn't burn, but just because of like
all
other
ash,
shit, like holy shit.
So the whole inside is covered in ash. So, you know, I don't think you can just vacuum that crap up. I think you gotta
like you can't like clean that out, or what? Like
I don't know if it's possible. You think maybe you could, but then maybe obviously any carpeting would have to go, but then maybe some other things too. So
yeah, well, yeah, because I guess if it gets into the drywall, I guess, or I don't know.
Yeah,
that's crazy. No one deserves to lose life or stuff. Yeah, and what pisses me up is that Western North Carolina is still ignored.
Yep.
Also true. Yeah.
I've been seeing a lot of that.
It's like our local politicians in California are doing absolutely nothing to help the people of California, but then now we have other disasters going on in other parts of the country, and it's like, where's all our tax dollars going, whether locally, federally,
well, weren't they meeting during the fires, the legislature, to fight Trump's lawsuits and shit? You know, where they get they put like $50 million away to fight him.
And there's also this other super fun thing that I just came across like an hour ago, that Gavin Newsom pushed through this like $50 million bill that said it's going to quote unquote Trump proof California, where they're going to basically they're going to defend the illegal immigrants and migrants from getting deported and stuff. And it's like, okay, so let me get this straight. We can give away billions and billions of dollars to Ukraine. We can spend $50 million to protect illegal immigrants who are actual criminals, who are actually assaulting and killing people in our country.
Not to mention with breaking the law to come here in the first place.
The people in Los Angeles and the Palisades that are literally losing everything, they're just like, sorry. Really proved to be too much for the man, leaving on a midnight train to Georgia. But Biden said they are taking care of for 180 days. For 180 days, yeah. Tell that to the people who their entire home and everything that they've ever owned is burned to the ground. 180 days, yeah. What's that going to do for them? Like,
not a lot.
You see those State Farm AI generated commercials with the Jake from State Farm driving around taking pictures and selfies, and the entire fucking city is on fire.
Yeah.
State Farm is there, but they ain't there because they pulled out of California.
And so
Well,
to
no.
go along with that, like it semi makes sense when California comes out and says, "Hey, like we won't allow you guys to raise your price too much because we're communists and they're controlling the prices of it. So we can't boost up your the cost of your insurance," which to a point makes some sense because they would just go ridiculous. But you know, for State Farm, they're never going to get any money out of the fact of, you know, they can look around at California and be like, this thing's a tinderbox. It's getting ready to burn. Like California's doing nothing to prevent this. They're like they're not doing anything for forest management. So when they're like, yeah, we can't insure this stuff at this price, like we'll lose millions and millions of dollars off this or more, whatever the price would be. But like, so like it semi makes sense, but at the same time, I don't know.
So this right here, the picture that I just pulled up here on this article is that firefighters are preparing for a return of dangerous winds that could again stoke the wildfires that destroyed thousands of homes and killed at least 24 people in the Los Angeles area. So there, I mean, look at this.
This is not going away. I mean, this thing's just burning.
What is going away after everything's
literally
burning?
looks like a war zone in like the Middle East or something like this.
It looks like
Gaza. It looks like a third world country. It's crazy.
It looks like Gaza.
It's amazing to me, and they're just like, yeah, sorry, like we're not going to do anything for you. I forget exactly what it was, but I guess there was like some football game, whether it was a college game, NFL game, I don't know. I don't really follow the sport ball, but they were supposed to play somewhere in the Los Angeles area, and they moved the game.
The Chargers went to Phoenix, right?
But the stadium was owned by Farmers Insurance, and they were like, the irony of they're moving this football game from the Los Angeles area to the Farmers Insurance arena when Farmers Insurance is one of the ones that like canceled a bunch of people's policies a couple months before all of this started.
Awkward.
You know, the Los Angeles mayor cut the fire department budget by a couple months ago. Gavin Newsom a couple years ago cut the fire preparedness budget by a couple mil. It's like this, and we haven't even gotten into the fact of the people that were like starting the fires and like throwing gasoline in the sewers and starting the brush fires. It's like, this is what people keep voting for in California. Like people are just, oh God, there's so many words I want to use that are going to get me banned on YouTube right now, but it's just like, people are so stupid. You keep voting for these people.
No, Jacob, it's not going to end his career. They're going to revote him and that dumb mayor.
People are dumb. Come on, Jacob. Come on. They're too stupid. You should know this.
The man survived a recall and a re-election. Whether those elections were rigged is
while calling a black man the white or the blackface of white supremacy. So like it doesn't get dumber than that.
Lady Marine, the reason why is because they knew it was they knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
And they did not want to be on the hook for it because they'd bankrupt them.
Yeah, because
it literally happens every single year.
Increase their insurance, so it would never be worth it for them.
No, like this literally happens every year. I am 39 years old. I have lived in Southern California my entire life. I am not exaggerating when I say we have a wildfire season. It's pretty much from like October to spring. No, I'm not. I'm like, it sucks. Like, I'm not trying to be that funny. Like, yeah, it's we can kind of laugh. Oh, yeah, we have a wildfire season.
I've heard of it. So do we. So I understand.
Because we get like very little. We'll get like 2 inches of rain a year, and stuff gets green and whatever, and then it's just like dry. So everything dries out. And then somewhere around August or October, shit starts lighting on fire because assholes flick their cigarette butts out their car windows when they're driving, or the homeless people, because we are in a weird time of year now where like at night and in the mornings, it can get down into like the 40s, give or take, depending on where you are. But in the middle of the afternoon can still get up into the high 70s and 80s. So it's like it's just cold enough to where these homeless people in their encampments are like starting fires, but then in the middle of the day it's still hot and dry, and then the winds pick up and embers are flying. Like we literally have wildfire season, and our state officials, our city officials, our local officials, everyone is all just like, oh, we had no idea, how we're completely unprepared, we didn't know this was happening. It's like this literally happens every single year.
Do you remember when Donald Trump came out and said, hey, you need to deal with all the underbrush and stuff like that because the forests aren't being managed? Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
But
that's
you also
right,
know,
Was it Newsom or was it the legislature that wouldn't let insurance companies raise rates?
I don't know.
that one I'm not sure of.
I know that happened,
you know-
and then insurance companies are like, okay, well, we're out. 'cause
Yeah,
we can't
yeah.
recoup.
Yeah.
But Devon,
I-
to your point, you know that as soon as Donald Trump says something, the far left has to go, well, we have to
He
do the
doesn't know
exact
anything.
opposite because we just hate him.
This is true.
I'm like, don't get me wrong. Look, like
You should-
And then this
do I
is
think Donald Trump is a good person? Do I think Donald Trump is a good person? No. But do I think that he will do a better job at running our country than Biden or Harris? Absolutely. But
Yep.
the TDS is real, man. The Trump derangement syndrome, where it's
Yeah.
like if Trump says something, Gavin Newsom's over here like, hold my beer. Like,
Oh man. I would just like to
Well,
note, by the
get
way,
Killed by
anything done.
cloudy
It's literally-
IPA.
we literally can't get anything done because like Trump says something and all the liberals are like, oh well, you know, we need to do the exact opposite because we can't go with what the bad orange man says. Like,
yep. Something way more
now-
important than all of that.
hundreds, if not thousands, of people are literally paying the cost. Like,
Yeah.
I can't even begin to pull up the amount of like Instagram pictures, posts, reels, and everything I've seen of just like these neighborhoods totally, completely decimated, completely gone.
12,000
thousands are just
structures
gone.
at
Yeah.
last count.
Just
Did
gone.
did you guys see that the LAPD responded to Kamala Harris's home in California
I did.
because people were breaking in?
Yep.
God.
And let's see, a man was arrested with a blowtorch near the Kenneth fire in California.
That's
And
not
his name was Juan Manuel Sierra Levea, who
Oh, that's
was, wait for it, an illegal alien from Mexico. Crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh.
Also,
I love this moment so much I want to have sex with it.
Also, Butts is currently trending on Twitter, and that's very important. I don't know why, and I don't plan on clicking on it, but just so you know.
Just, you know, this is pretty much like any one of us that are living in Southern California. Like this is kind of where we're at right now.
Hello. You boys like Mexico?
Oh man. Yep.
Containment in all, 4 fires in the area have consumed more than 62 square miles, 160 square kilometers, an area larger than San Francisco as of Monday afternoon. The large Palisades fire was 14% contained, and containment on the Eaton fire reached 33%. Death toll rises, at least 24 people have died. More victims continue to be found. The death toll is expected to rise. Wind forecasts. The National Weather Service issued red flag warnings for severe fire conditions through Wednesday. I can even look on my phone right now. Like, I am a good 200 miles away from the stuff that's happening right now. But when I check my weather on my phone, it's like, oh yeah, like red flag warnings. We're still having like high winds and warnings and stuff here. So I'm just like, it's just a matter of time where either that shit's going to travel somehow or one of the homeless encampments down here is going to start a fire and San Diego is going to be in the same situation. Like I said, it happens every year. We get high winds. Joe Rogan, there's like, I wonder if I could see if I could find this on Instagram or something. Joe Rogan predicted this shit like a couple months ago on his podcast. He was talking about this.
Mhm.
He was like, oh yeah, he's like, the wind is gonna hit just right, and there's gonna be fires, and there's gonna be this, and there's gonna be that, and it's like, yeah, with sustained winds of 50 miles per hour and gusts in the mountains reaching up to 70 miles per hour, the most dangerous day will be Tuesday, a fire analyst said. Trent
Great.
says he's
Nothing
eyeing
good
Los
happens on
Angeles like
Tuesday.
the developer he used to be. So there's not much else here. They're all just sort of like
Buy it all.
short little blurbs.
Pretty much.
Let's go back.
If it makes you
Gonna
feel
do-
any better,
He's
Good
gonna
old
build it
Devon.
back. Build it back better.
build it back. More
AstroTurf.
communist.
Everything. No flammable. Asbestos trees. And
Well, I'm fairly certain that AstroTurf is a petroleum product and very likely burns fairly well. Dang, I didn't realize that's a 40.
Over 40 arrests made in Palisades fire
Crazy.
zone by Santa Monica police. 40.
Is that people setting
That's like-
fires or robbing too? Because I've seen that was pretty prevalent too.
I
Could
think
be
mostly
both.
robbing,
Could be
a
both.
lot of looting.
Santa Monica Police Department has made over 40 arrests from the start of the Palisades fire on January 7th through the 13th. Department said all those arrested were in the city's evacuation zones. Most of them violated the curfew law enforcement put in place, which lasts from sunset to sunrise. 10 suspects were arrested for burglary. One of them was found to have the Watch Duty app on his phone. 6 people were in possession of burglary tools, possession of concealed handguns.
Oh, that
Let's
looks
see.
like just the regular
None of those
The
arrests.
usual
citizenry of
suspects.
LA.
The rest were drug possessions, driving violations, outstanding warrants, parole, probation violations.
Oh
None of
my
those
God.
arrests. Significant increase in the normal number of arrests in the neighborhoods of evacuation
Amazing.
zones.
Are they gonna
Okay,
have to
so
let them all
that,
go because they're not white.
that's not necessarily talking about the arsonists. I wanna hear about the arsonists because there's been a lot of how the LA Fire Department fumbled the first response. No, what happened?
Wasn't
during
there a
the
guy that had a
pursuit?
flamethrower?
Yeah. Let's see if I can find that.
Suspect
That I
arrested
saw-
with a flamethrower. Yeah.
Well, that I saw
Fighting
on
fire with
Instagram,
fire. Yeah.
So okay,
So
this
the
was
fires-
amazing. This was a couple 2 years ago or a year ago. So in Banff, the beautiful park Banff, they had a women's firefighter summit, and they decided that it would be a great idea to show that the female firefighters can do just as good of a job as the men. So they started to control burn, and it got out of hand and burnt down a lot of Banff.
I remember those fires too.
That was a year or two ago. It's like, why?
My mother-in-law
Stop.
was just there.
This
Is
is
there
what you
anything
get for
left?
trying to
I-
gloat.
They gotta log in.
That's like that one chick. And if some guy gets in a fire and I have to help him out, then he got himself in a bad position. It's like, my
Yeah.
God, that kind of flex is that?
Yep.
That's totally a lesbian thing.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Trying to log in
Don't
here and
worry,
any
don't worry,
any
fella. I'll
code.
take care of your wife for you. You know.
Continue to talk amongst yourselves. I'm working on Instagram here. It's the
Well,
Zach.
another thing then that's not surprising at all is Gavin Newsom sent a link out for everyone to donate to for the fires and stuff like that. And it was going to Act Blue, which is the Democrat
I saw that.
association. So
and
that's always
Elizabeth
good.
Warren too. She's
Yeah.
shared the same shit out there, and like
Pocahontas.
X, like Twitter actually like fact checked her, and it's like, oh hey, like this is actually going to like Democrat backed bullshit, whatever. What's up, Zach? How you doing, buddy?
Go
We're
to
talking about how
URL.
much California sucks right now.
What's going on?
Go to URL.
Go
It's like
Help
go to
me.
URL for help. It's like, do you not understand what
That's-
that means? It's literally like you need to give a website or a link.
like
it's
Kathleen
not a
Kennedy.
physical
Oh
place.
man.
Fade in.
Oh man. That's just. Oh, that's a terrible joke. Oh no. Oh,
What?
no. It's just
Share.
You have something to share?
former child actor Rory Sykes, who was born blind and had cerebral palsy, had died in the Palisades fire, his mother announced. And then just the picture above it is from that person going, he got himself in the wrong
Yep.
place.
I saw that one.
Terrible.
That is so fucked. I know. I saw that too. I'm like, oh my god,
Too soon.
these people are so stupid. I'm sure. So this was recorded a while back when she was doing this, and I'm sure at the time it sounded like such a flex. You know,
and people probably cheered for it.
they did, and now it is just like, oh my god, you know, Exhibit A, Your Honor.
Man, my other monitor is really not cooperating with me, but let's see if I can find.
Now I bet the fire chief.
Whoa,
and
fire
those people
tornadoes.
will get burned for this. No pun intended.
Hey.
Yeah.
But no inflected official is going to resign or probably even lose their job over this crap.
Yeah, probably not.
And to anyone out there that's seen the who is it, like Mad Max Fury Road, the one with what's his name?
John Cena.
No, the other guy.
I can't think of his name, but yes.
Hemsworth, right?
No.
It was Venom, that guy.
Tom
Hardy.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
I saw that.
one.
Did you send that to me?
You're like rationing the water, yeah.
This is so good.
Yep.
Yeah, if you've seen the movie, you get it. But yeah, it's like this whole thing. It's like this futuristic society, and it's like they control the water, and they just like turn it on once a day, and everyone's all like clamoring for the water, and it's like that's pretty much Gavin Newsom right now.
Yep.
Where?
The man who was arrested near Kenneth Fire was not charged with arson.
Yeah, no, they let him go.
That's crazy.
But you know what?
Crazy.
I'm literally on the phone with Joe Biden right now. Literally on the phone. I have to go now.
All right, Lady Marine.
I'll be right back.
The one where, when he like, that was so stupid. Like
that is so lame that you have to fake a call to Biden.
Like
the
used car
calculator's open
salesman with his hair slicked back and the whole thing. It's like, dude, you're so slimy. You're so gross.
I'm literally on the phone.
Flip side, I will say
now.
But on the flip side, still, I will say it's like I absolutely hate the people who call him new scum. Like they think they're being so clever, and it's like you're just being childish at that point. Like I can hate the guy all I want, but like I'm not gonna call him a stupid nickname. When the people are like, "Oh, Gavin Newscum," it's just like you're not clever, you're not funny. Like it's stupid.
The suspect claimed that he was using the blowtorch to smoke marijuana because he couldn't afford a lighter.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah,
yeah.
I cannot find.
Gee, I wonder how the fire started originally.
Cheech and Chong go to California.
Yes, I agree that he is scum, but it's like I personally find it like really childish and stupid when people think that like they're being clever doing like a play on words with the names, and it's like say what you want about the person, but it's like don't try to be all like, oh, we're gonna try to like do a clever play on words with his name. Like it's stupid. Just be like, no, he's an asshole. He sucks. Like
straight into the point.
Gavin,
say what it is.
He's not new scum. He's old scum. He's been there for quite a few years. That definitely.
He ruined San Francisco as the mayor of San Francisco. Then he got elected the governor of California and completely destroyed California. And now he wants to probably ruin the country. But I can only hope and pray that everything that's going on right now is going to make the rest of the country realize like, no, he shouldn't be president in 4 years. Like, Hopefully, I don't know.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be anything, but whatever.
I cannot find this stuff on Instagram that I was looking for. But yeah, the video of the guy with the blowtorch where people literally did like a citizen's arrest
Yeah.
and like took the guy down. But then there were multiple others. There were videos of like guys like throwing like gas cans down like storm drains into the sewers. And I think like Devon and I were talking about this backstage before the show started, before Blair got here. The comedian Whitney Cummings that lives up in that area in LA, like she lives in an area where she got evacuated and thankfully got to go back home and her home was still intact. But then she was getting all this information from people being like, hey, there's people out here like intentionally starting brush fires. So she went with her boyfriend to be like, we're going to go find the arsonists. And it's like, what did they do? They didn't go armed with guns. They didn't even go armed with baseball bats. They went armed with swords.
Perfect.
Ooh,
and I wish I
right.
could pull the videos up, but they were on an Instagram story. So stories are gone after 24 hours, but they literally like, they're going out. It was like 9-10 o'clock at night. And she's
still
just
get
like,
them
all right.
arrested.
She's like, all right, yeah, we're gonna go out and we're gonna find these arsonists. And she's like talking to her boyfriend. She's like, babe, what do we got? And she's like, we got swords.
Yes. Yeah.
They're just unsharpened samurai swords from like, I don't know, the
Spencer's
mall.
gift. Yeah. Spencer's gift.
So
Well, they
I
can't have
also-
guns. So, what else are you going to do?
Yeah, really.
But
I also-
and again, it's like in California and in Los Angeles, it's like you're more likely to get thrown in jail for having a gun on you than you are just like rolling up on somebody with a sword.
There you go.
Fair enough. I see that California in 2022 donated a bunch of their firefighting equipment to Ukraine as well.
Yeah.
I missed that
Oh,
one.
How
Don't worry,
about
go.
that?
Don't worry. Zelensky said he's going to send firefighters here to help.
Perfect. Okay.
That's
Oh,
great.
good. What was the one too? Wasn't there like they were trying to send a bunch of fire trucks from like Oregon or something down here and they got
Yes.
stopped for emissions testing?
Emissions testing.
No, I heard that was bullshit. I heard they actually stopped as a plan stopped to do maintenance and refuel and rest.
Oh, okay. So that one was a
I
lie.
had seen
Okay.
several places saying that. I want to see if that's true.
I
or not.
saw that
But it's
too.
like-
And
before doing any kind of research into it, you got to admit it's like that's pretty believable. Like
I was just going to
100%.
say, I believe
I'm
it.
glad that it was fake. I'm glad that was like fake news. But it's like as soon as you see something, we're like, oh, they stopped trucks from out of state for emissions testing. Right away, everyone was like, that checks out. That sounds about right. Like,
Yep. No one's like, oh no, they would never. It's like, oh yeah, that would have. Yeah, I can see that.
yeah, that would absolutely happen here. Salt guns. Not
I think
assault
it's-
guns, just salt guns.
I think it's partially true. So, although it's not the fact of they have to actually go through that and that's necessarily what delayed them, but they do actually still need to get a safety inspection for those. It says it only takes 15 minutes though, but it's still funny.
Yeah, I don't buy that for a second. I'm
think-
sure it takes like a whole day.
yeah. That's what I do.
It takes
That's
a
funny.
regular person 15 minutes. It takes the government 3 days for sure.
That's where you're like, no, 50 minutes, no bullshit. It's got to be a day and a half at least.
Yeah, it's like the little
Uh.
like hole in the wall place around the corner that does smog checks. They're like, yeah, it'll take us 15 minutes, but the government's like, oh no, the government's gonna do it, and yeah, it's gonna take 2 weeks.
Which is fun because you think an emergency like that, all those little things were like, no, resend all that, get them in here.
That's why
Wrong.
it's all planned, it's all prefabricated, it's all it's a funny thing. If you would ask me, 5 years ago, oh, what's your favorite conspiracy theory? I would have been like, I don't know, I don't really put much thought into that kind of stuff. But now,
Mike Obama.
oh boy, oh, do I have some conspiracy theories? Like, I'm all out of tinfoil. I need to go buy some tinfoil. But oh
Well, it's
man,
like that Rogan
That's-
special. He's like, years ago, you told us, vaccines are, the greatest thing ever and blah, blah. Now, I don't think we went to the moon.
I was just gonna say the same thing. It's like I'll admit, like I was one of those people that when people said that 9/11 was an inside job, like I would get mad. I'm like, oh, like how could you possibly say that? How could you think that like our government would do that against our own people? Now I'm the same thing. I'm like, I don't think we landed on the moon. Like
We've been lied to for everything about it. So now,
yeah, it's like,
I
there's
had
no-
that conversation with my
nothing-
wife. And she was
Nothing
like,
adds up
don't
anymore."
tell anyone that. Well, it's not the
Somebody-
fact I think we didn't. I'm just not, I wouldn't be surprised if they came out and said that.
I would
right?
not be surprised if I got up out of my chair right now and walked outside and I saw a UFO hovering above my apartment complex. I would not be surprised at this point. Like,
Oh, at this point,
like,
nobody
I
would
will
be.
literally pay you to abduct me.
No, no, wrong, John. The government has come out and said UFOs are real, therefore they're not. Like, that's really funny. I think that was actually on a Joe Rogan episode recently where they're like, you know what? I used to believe in UFOs, and then the government came out and said that there's UFOs, and now I don't actually think there are.
Because anything they tell us has to be a lie.
Pretty much, yep. Like, yeah, no, it's totally not something experimental that we're working on. Yes, aliens, that's what it is. Yes,
Aliens could land, and people like, oh, hey, how you doing? And then, you know,
And
Yeah,
they
not
would
even
be
be
like throwing
phased.
money at them to be like, oh, we need to protect these illegal aliens.
God. The actual aliens we want to come.
no
Will
one
not
is
come here.
illegal.
Yeah, it could totally be like a scene out of Independence Day where it's like the aliens are here to destroy us, but they'd be like, "Oh, let's give them free money." Like
California,
Justice
instead of
for the
using real
alien.
guns, they just have money guns.
like the t-shirt cannons, but it's just use cash.
Yeah, there you go.
Wads of cash.
What's Zach say here? UFOs are more likely to exist than three lesbians who are the best choices around the. Yeah. Well, so you're saying they'd run it like Grinder.
I thought I'd heard that the fire chief did get fired though. That like they
I think
realized,
that-
like, okay, like, this is a
I
bad
think
idea.
that
and
did
they got rid-
happen.
They got rid of her. But yeah, this is living in California. So out of all of us that are here between the chat and the panel, like, hey, I live in California. This is where we're at in California, is that everyone cares more about DEI shit than actual qualifications. And don't get me wrong, you know what? Like, you want to join the military, you want to be in law enforcement, you want to be on the fire department, you want whatever. If you are capable of doing the job, I don't give two flying shits what's between your legs, who you go to bed with, who you whatever. It's like if you can do the job, do the job. But when they are more concerned with checking the DEI box rather than can you do the job, people die, and that's bad.
A friend of mine, she was a part of the fire department in Australia, and she was talking to me about that. She's like, there's a different test for the men and women, and she said it doesn't matter if I go into a fire and there's a 300-pound man there, I still need to get him out of there. And so, like, yeah, doesn't matter. Like, she would train all the time and stuff as much as she could, but still, yeah, it doesn't matter.
I'm
still
not
gotta get
surprised
him
at
out.
all, Zach's.
Yeah, it's like the LA Water Commissioner is also a diverse woman who puts equity first. I mean, there's airline companies that are talking about that. I forget which airline it was, whatever. Someone like Rob Schneider was roasting on them a couple months ago, but like maybe it was American Airlines, where they're saying that like their top priority was diversity, not most hours in flight, not most experience, not most training, not most certifications, not diversity. And it's like, you know what? Again, at the end of the day, like I said, I don't care who you are, what you are, whatever. Like, can you do the job? Yes or no? Simple question, right? Like any kind of job interview should be at the end of the day. Simple question: can you do the job?
Yeah.
But they're pushing diversity so hard that now like people are dying because it's like, oh, well, we're going to put people in place that are not the most experienced, that are not the most qualified, that are not the most whatever, but diversity, yay. And like, I don't really care. Like, just prove to me you can do the job. And then I don't care beyond that. Just do the job. Women can do the job, but 5% of firefighters are women and 10% of women are lesbians. Math just doesn't work. Right. And
The math's not
that's like
mathing.
I've spent a lot of years of my life in, various different CrossFit gyms and stuff, and I've seen a lot of very strong women that can move a lot of weight around. And and like I said, it's like, if you can do the job, law enforcement, firefighter, military, whatever, it's like, if you hit the gym, you hit the weights, you're in shape, you can pull a body up out of a trench, you can save somebody's life, whatever. Like, I don't care what you have between your legs, I don't care who you go to bed with. Can you do the job? That should be the only qualification. Can you do the job? Yes or no? But that is no longer the case anymore. It's just, yay, diversity.
Well, it's like the Adam Carolla video where he's talking about the fact that it took him 7 years. He had to wait to actually get in for his exam. And then there was a woman in there, and he asked when she applied, and she said Wednesday.
Yep.
Like, okay.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
see
he'll
his video?
come back in 7 years, and then he comes back and she's like, oh, I applied the other day. Like,
You see his video where he's talking about these people are going to be in for a big surprise when they try to rebuild, because it's going to take them years to pull permits to rebuild.
oh yeah,
If they can even.
On purpose, likely.
Well,
He said the people on the coast are just not going to. They just won't let them.
Yeah.
Well,
Ocean
and
front people.
That's a good point, actually. I never thought of that.
They're done. They won't be able to come back.
Facts about living in Southern California. One is, if I can keep my train of thought without losing, without getting lost in what I'm trying to say. One, back in probably 2016 or so, I worked for a fire protection company that did like fire sprinklers and stuff. So California state building codes now require any and all new construction to have fire sprinklers, whether it's residential, commercial, whatever. And they say that fire sprinklers are not meant to necessarily preserve life or structure. It's just meant to be just enough water for if you're in the home when the thing lights on fire, just enough for you to get out. The place is probably still going to burn to the ground. While I worked for this company, I briefly worked in the estimating department, where I would look at blueprints of homes, and you would have to learn the fire code and the spacing and everything, and basically figure out, okay, this home is going to need 30 fire sprinklers. This one's going to need 20. This one, and you would have to kind of draft them out. While I worked there in 2016, there were a lot of homes that were like, oh, these are people just now starting to rebuild from like the 2006 wildfires.
Mm-hmm.
Like almost a decade later, that they're like just now getting the approval to get the plans, but now they need fire sprinklers. Now they need this. Now they need this. Now they need this. And like, yeah, so just barely even being able to be like, oh, we can just now barely rebuild our home, but now we have to jump through all these other hoops because of now all the new building codes. Governor Betamail said they'll waive all permit requirements. That also sounds like
right. First off, he doesn't have the authority to tell the city to do that. So
only if they're friends with his.
Good luck.
Yeah, waiving permits, like if to pay for it, but as long as they get inspected, that would not be necessarily a bad idea. So what you were saying, Blair, though, I never even thought of that. Like, how many of the houses built in California were done long enough ago that they got grandfathered in? Like, now you're not going to be able to build that close to the shore or to whatever else. And part of it is, I mean, some of the coastline roads, right? So like, there's that as well.
So that's the other problem.
Man, I never even thought of that.
They've been waiting for all that oceanside property for something to happen.
Yeah.
So now it's like, yeah, you're not coming back. So he said like Suzanne Summers and her husband just gave up and left because they couldn't build after a decade, like 7 years or something like that. They finally like, okay, we give up, but now he said, yeah, these people are going to try and pull permits. And it's going to be some 26-year-old bitch from the Ocean Conservatory who's going to tell them to F off.
We have smelts we have to protect.
Yeah, they're not going to get permits to rebuild. So there's whole
These are
sections.
fish too.
So there's whole sections there. Is just going to be a no-go zone, and then everybody
Yeah.
else is going to have to redo. Like you said, the one guy, Carson Daly, wanted a pool. We had to get a double hold pool to keep any pool water from leaching in the ground. So you're going to build. Maybe you could build, but the amount of changes you're going to have to do to come up to code is going to kill you.
Yep.
You're
Well,
not going to
and
afford to
that's
be
the
able.
thing. That's the thing, like with California building codes, and especially with fire codes, they change, I think, like every 2 to 3 years. So it's like every couple of years you have to like constantly read up on and learn the new, maybe not
Codes.
building codes, but fire codes of
Yeah.
what you
No,
can
building
and
codes
cannot build,
probably too.
where you have to have fire sprinklers, where you
Something
know,
like
all
if you
this
would
stuff.
add more than 10% to the structure, it was like a whole redo. Like all of a sudden you have
Well,
to
so
get
there,
rid of
everything
there
needs
has
to be brought
been-
up.
There's a loophole. I've heard of a lot of people that live kind of more or less kind of in my neighborhood that there is a loophole of if you leave one original wall from the original structure, then you don't have to get all new permits. So there is
Mhm.
kind of a thing of like, okay, if you're gonna gut the place, additions, remodel, renovations, rebuild, whatever, it's like leave one load-bearing wall, and then they'll be like, okay, that still counts as the original structure. But then,
But their
okay,
house is
so now
gone. They got no
so
local
now,
everywhere.
you know, you mentioned like landslides and erosion and stuff. So that's
Oh,
the
yeah,
next
yeah.
thing. That's the next thing we're gonna have to deal with now. Is I mean, thank God, not in my neighborhood, not
When
where I live, not yet. Anyways, like fires
when's the
haven't made
rainy
their way
season
there
in
yet.
LA?
But with LA and everything, I mean, again, like looking at the pictures of the Palisades, Hollywood, Los Angeles, everything. I mean, entire neighborhoods are gone. Beachfront properties are gone, decimated. Properties are burned to the ground that look like there was maybe an accelerant involved, like gasoline. Like the
No.
cars are gone, like cars are destroyed. It's like that's not a normal fire. Like there was an accelerant. Anyways,
The
my
the
point being,
accelerant is climate change. Continue.
Yes,
it's
yes.
the white supremacy climate change. But with the
Fuel
homes
for white
being gone,
supremacy.
the houses,
Someone
the
poured
cars
white
being gone,
supremacy on
everything,
it.
all those beachfront properties now, and we're probably setting up to have a little more of a dry winter. We don't really get a lot of rain here where I live anyways, but we do get some rain. So now with all of that stuff all burned away, with everything all gone, we get even the slightest little bit of rain, there's going to be massive mudslides.
Yeah,
There's going to be
yeah.
massive landslides. All this
Mm.
stuff's going to just like sweep into the ocean. Like
Mudslides.
it's not going to be good. It's not going to be like the people that have already lost everything. It's like now you're going to have to watch you lose everything a second time when we get rain, and
Now
that
your
sucks.
dirt's gonna
two.
leave.
Terribly.
Fight.
It sucks. Like that's bad. That's not good for anyone. But it's like
No.
Los Angeles is literally going to like slip into the ocean when we get rain.
It's people are gonna finish building their house. They're gonna be like, 2 years, finally, we have our house all done. It's gonna rain and
Wham.
everything's just gonna get right into the ocean.
The
Slide
good
down
thing
the
is
hill
they
and-
won't be able to rebuild that fast, so they're not going to lose a whole other home. But yeah, it's like whatever is left. We got a little bit of rain. Whoop! Oh, it's gone.
That's amazing.
It's bad. It's not going to be good. It's not going to.
Well,
be good.
it's a good thing that the city of Los Angeles cut a lot of their funding for the fire department and instead allocated thousands
their
of
mayor
dollars.
had nothing to say when being questioned about it until she had a script in front of her and said, "Just go to URL."
Just go to URL. They allocated those thousands of dollars away from the fire department and towards things such as the Midnight Stroll Transgender Cafe and the Gay Men's Choir.
and Ukraine, and
And Ukraine. Yeah.
Palestine, and
Oh my god,
Yeah.
that is so fucking rich. Oh, they're
It's
saying that they
amazing.
had how many vehicles?
The
We're out
cafe
of
also burnt
service.
down. I'm just kidding. I don't know, but that would be semi-ironic.
They had so many emergency vehicles out of order because they didn't have money to pay mechanics to fix the stuff. So they had all these fire rigs and water trucks and shit not even in service because they had no money to pay people to fix the shit.
Did you see the videos of the firefighters that were literally having like go over to the fire trucks and get like a bag of water and like run over and like throw it on because there was no water in the fire hydrants. How do you not have water
crazy
in your fire hydrants? Like
they didn't put any water in the one reservoir.
Yeah. They've been diverting the rainwater into the ocean, I believe, to protect smelts.
Or some shit.
The smelt. Thank you.
If somebody like
muted it on time, but obviously you saw it.
Purposely planned this, I don't think they could have done any better.
We saved the smelt.
The thing is like it so lines up with like someone doing it on purpose, but it part of me, the conspiracy theorist side of me, is like, yes, it's on purpose, but at the same time, they're just really stupid as well. So it's the fact that we can't tell if it's evil or stupidity is sad. It really is.
It's like the devil. Yes, the answer is yes.
Is his first name Gavin?
Yeah,
like
combs his hair just right so that you can't see the horns.
Yeah.
Oh man.
He's just got that whole like slimy used car salesman.
Yes.
Gravelly voice, and he can't speak without saying every other word. I'm like, you are literally a career politician. This is all you've done with your entire life. You can't get up and read off a teleprompter and give a speech without saying and the people of California like
he's our version of Trudeau.
Learn how to speak.
Take some speaking like lessons, dude. Like
Toastmasters
bothers
man.
Me.
Go to Toastmasters.
He's our Trudeau.
Come on, that's insulting to Trudeau. I'm just kidding. I know, I'm just kidding. Newsom at least is only like destroying his section.
One state.
We have the whole
California
country.
is basically like GDP worth all of Canada. So
yeah.
However, they managed to finally get Trudeau to do it. Like maybe he was afraid of. I don't know, whatever. My channel's probably already shadow banned at this point. Whatever. It's like Trudeau's probably at a point where he was afraid of getting assassinated. So I think he finally stepped down. Newsom is too arrogant. He will never willingly step down. Like it would take. I was
saying the same thing about Trudeau for the longest time because at least with I don't know about Newsom necessarily. Like there's plenty of things he's been doing that's like incompetence and just stupid stuff. Like Trudeau's been caught in like scandal after scandal after scandal of like, how much money did you give your family's like company?
Newsom doesn't really have any scandals. He's just done a lot of dumb shit that's really screwed over the people of California. But
there was
the people
during COVID
voting for him and the people that support him are like, he's doing a good job. We love him. Like when the whole French Laundry thing happened, like remember like in the thick of COVID, when he went and had that dinner at the French Laundry, people that I personally know, like not dumb shit that I was seeing on Twitter, not random strangers, like people I personally know were like, oh, well, he made a mistake. He apologized. And I'd be like, if that had been a Republican, you would have been so furious.
They would have been in jail.
Because it's your guy. You're like, oh, it's fine. He apologized. And it's like, no. Even if we had a Republican governor, I still would have been equally as pissed because he's telling everybody else, like, you got to shut your business down. You got to stay home. You got to this, you got to that. And I'm going to go spend $1,000 on a dinner and rub elbows with people and yuck it up and everything. And like, oh,
and not wear a mask.
Apologize. He made a mistake, whatever. And it's like, why are you people so retarded that it's like, yes, you voted for this person, but you can objectively say I voted for this person and that was still fucking wrong. Like,
stop defending politicians. None of them like you. All of them hate you and are getting paid.
Never know your name. They don't care about you. Like,
it doesn't matter if it's Donald Trump or Biden won't know your name anyways because he'd forget it after you told him. But like, still,
at least have a governor who's like, I apologize for being found in the whorehouse.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
I didn't put it in.
Man. Is that who was in office when you were born, Devon? Well, I mean, I know you're Canadian,
know.
but whatever. It's like, who is? Do you remember who was the American
96.
president when you were born? 96. Yeah, that was Clinton, wasn't
Yep.
it? Yeah.
It
Toward the
was Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
Yep. I still see people online, by the way, defending Trudeau. Like I saw a thing and they're like, well, it's good that he finally stepped down, but you can't put aside how much good he really did for this country. Like, bro, are you living in the same country I am? Like, I saw someone else who was just like, dude, honestly, at this point, like, I'm giving up. Like, it's stupid. I hate going to work all the time just so I can barely get by. Like, I work so that I can eat so I can go to work. And that's it. They're like, I don't go out all the time. I can't afford to have hobbies right now. And it's just like, what is the point of even trying to do anything anymore? Because I can't live. I can't have a life. I can't afford to.
Yeah.
It's like, welcome to the economy.
That's why I keep looking at moving to Idaho because, California sucks.
Well,
Yeah.
if you catches on fire in San Diego again, you might have no choice. So,
Yeah, like I said, like we have our wildfire season every year. The wildfires have not kicked up in San Diego yet, but it's just a matter of time before a homeless encampment starts them up.
Yeah.
It will probably happen sooner than later. So, it'll be fun. It'll be super fun.
Our wildfires last year were not that bad, actually. I was pleasantly surprised because the year before that, like, it was pretty smoky here, like in town and stuff. But this past year, not terrible.
yeah, I didn't hear much about it. Well, I guess they weren't as big as the Quebec ones, where the whole
That one,
north was on fire.
Conspiracy theory. Everyone was saying that it smelled like burning rubber the entire time.
We had Minnesota had wildfires a few years back, and it smelled like burnt grass here in Wisconsin. It triggered my asthma. My son's asthma so bad we had to take him to the hospital to have him get calmed down because it was like a haze.
Mm-hmm.
It was just Minnesota grass fire. No trees were involved really. It wasn't like whole forests were burning down. It was just grass and pastures and stuff like that. But
no, yeah, we've definitely had like when San Diego's had fires, we've definitely had years where like they have to put out like a whatever they call it, like clean air advisory type of thing, stuff where it's like it's not safe to be outside and like breathing the air.
it's crazy nice.
That gets gnarly when there's just like all the like the ash and the smoke and stuff in the air and like what in the what is happening here?
So this was a forest fire this past year where we were actually up on the mountain above the plains as they're coming in. So when we got up there and started hiking, we're like, there's a little bit of smoke over there. And then the water bombers started coming in. There was a couple helicopters and stuff too. But yeah, we got above them and I got some pictures. I thankfully have my camera with me. So
I think one of those planes is the one that got damaged by the drone.
That was another thing. The drones.
What?
The drones were taking out the planes, trying to put the fires out.
Yeah, so they had those Canadian planes here helping. A drone struck one of the wings, and they had it grounded. It had like big ass hole in it.
That's crazy. I wonder which one it was because actually some of the pictures I had were. I actually got close enough that I have the numbers off of them.
Because they looked just like that too. They had those colors.
So Devon, you were
those were the Canadian ones. No, I sold my drone because I wasn't using it very much. It's too windy here.
But you're like Lady Marie saying Biden announced $770 one-time payments to victims of California fires, and they have to register to get it. That is
the
not
$750
even
loan.
That like $770 is like not even half
a drop in the bucket
rent in California.
Yeah.
Like, no, they're saying people are paying $30-some thousand a month for a house for rent now.
If you're living in either an apartment or a house in anywhere in Southern California, $770 is not even half your month's rent. That's barely like a tank of gas and some groceries and maybe a couple of your utilities. Like it's the same thing of like when they did all the what do they call it, the stimulus stuff during COVID, like the stimulus checks and the bills where it was like, oh, here's $400, here's $500. Like, yay, like that'll put like gas on my tank and groceries for like 2 weeks. Like, thanks a lot. That does a whole
Was
lot
that
of
taxed?
nothing. No, actually, surprisingly,
Ours
no.
were. In
Surprisingly,
Canada,
no, it was not taxed. But here's the funny thing too, though, is they sent out these stimulus checks of like, oh, here we're gonna like help the people that are, out of work and blah blah blah, whatever. You didn't have to register or go and sign up or do anything to get the money. So
Yeah, it just came.
I never stopped working. Thank God my job was deemed essential, and I still kept my 40
Essential.
hours, and I kept working
I
the
was
entire time.
too, but
I got all of those stimulus checks. I didn't ask for them, but they sent them to me. And I'm like, so you're literally sending taxpayer money free, just sending free money to me, even though I still have my job. I am still working, but there's a lot of other people that like they're out of work. They're losing their business, or their place of business that they work at as an employee is closed, but they're just like blanket statement, like, here's money to everybody. And I'm like, I don't need this. I didn't ask for this. I am still working. Like, yay,
I was
California.
I got a 2-week furlough that lasted 2 months.
No, I
But I got
never stopped going to work.
70% of my pay was covered though. So it wasn't.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was still working
I
all the time too.
never, because like I was a machinist, and a lot of our clientele was like the trucking industry and sanitation and other weird deemed essential. So like I never stopped working, but I got all that free shit from the government, and I'm like, I didn't ask for this. Like, this is just taxpayer dollars that are being sent out to everyone. And it's like,
Oh yeah, billions of people, billions of dollars were lost because people had businesses were claiming things, and
Yeah.
it was a giant scam, and these people ran off and went and bought mansions and shit. Oh yeah, did you hear the Black Lives Matter lady lost over 2
her
mansions?
mansions.
Oh dear. Bless her
no.
heart.
in West North Carolina tried to register for that and were rejected. Tell them to move to California. They'll give them all sorts of free money. They like to give people free money here, as long as you're not white or straight or employed or a legal resident. Or
there you go.
Well, they're going to identify as something else when they get there, and
they probably get extra.
Come to California and identify as anything of whatever you're not, and they'll give you all sorts of free money.
Well,
they'll even give you a place to live.
Wasn't it FEMA that was telling people not to help people if they had Trump signs outside of their house?
Yeah.
Did FEMA come out and say that?
They told them not to go to the house if they saw a Trump sign. He won anyway.
He's your president, no matter what.
Well, that's awkward, isn't it?
Fire. Yeah, really. That's one of the first employees I'd be getting rid of.
Yeah. Crazy.
Well, gents, we've gone.
Yeah,
it's the longest show.
Yeah, as I said, I'm willing to go beyond the hour mark if the conversation is good, but also when it starts to wind down and I'm ready for dinner because I am tired and hungry. I think it's about time to call it a day. So, what do we have going on for the rest of the week? Blair, I know you mentioned some stuff earlier. You got a little bit of a busy streaming week this week.
Yeah, tomorrow I'm on Jacob Ironside's show. I believe we're doing the Rio Bravo. And then right after that stream, I'm on Diabolical Souls, Gooch's stream. We're going to be doing episode 4 of...
Who is this man?
Primal.
Get him out of here. Block.
And then Thursday, I'm going to be on his show. We're doing Kaiju number 8, episode 2.
Nice. Nice.
Thursday was with who?
It's a Diabolical Souls, Gooch. We're doing the anime Thursdays. Nice. And we're doing Kaiju number 8.
That is a great anime. And I've read some of the manga. I actually haven't finished it, but so good.
I like the first one. It's pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to watching that weekly now. So
That was one of the very
Devon
few
is,
mangas or animes that I watched. I'm like, I'm reading it. It's happening. I haven't finished it, but it's good.
Same, Steph. Same.
Yep.
No
but
promises.
yeah, Devon is definitely your resident anime guy
Weeb.
here. It's something that I never quite got into, except for maybe, I don't know if this counts as anime, but like the Alien Flux series back on MTV back in the day. But that was
If it was on
kinda
MTV,
anime,
probably
kinda
not.
Yeah,
it was like early 90s.
I remember it.
But yeah, no, Devon is the anime
Liquid
guy.
TV. That was the show it was on. Liquid TV. Their
Yeah.
animation thing. Beavis and Butthead got their start on that show. They came from that.
The crusty old man finally shows up. You're
There's
finally here.
Well, there's
Just as
no
we're-
American
just as we're
anime
ending the
technically.
It's
It's anime is Japanese. Come on, Roman.
Just finally,
they try, but
They try, but it's no. Solo
But this
Leveling
one-
is amazing. That's a great anime. Highly
heard
recommend.
about that.
This one's just for Roman, though. This is just for Roman.
I was there, Gandalf. I was there 3,000 years ago.
Probably
back when G-Force Battle for the Planets
wow.
was the greatest anime.
I actually
we got it.
may be streaming this week myself, possibly right after this, editing pictures and chilling to some music. So you can follow me on YouTube at Salmon Outdoors because I'm going to be editing pictures. So yeah, I may.
Okay,
Nice.
I'll have to
Keep an eye
start
out.
adding that into the description. I've added.
I'm sorry.
For those of you who are here hanging out in the chat, I have added into the description of our shows here where you can go and buy Devon's photography, as well as where you can follow him on Twitter. I usually try to at least put people's Twitters out there. If you have a channel, put the channel out there. But that will be something else I'll have to add. But in the meantime, go buy Devon's photography and check out what Blair has going on the rest of the week. I myself will be back on Wednesday with After Work Beers at 3:00 California time. And I don't know what I'll be talking about yet. I usually pick my topics like day of, very last minute. But, part of the thing of when you do a stream alone, you can just pick stuff super last minute and go, I feel like talking about this. And you don't have to brief anyone.
Yeah, nice.
Fair enough. You not even yourself.
Photos, I'll check.
Yeah, no.
I'll keep it a
Let it be a
surprise to
surprise.
myself. Even. If I make the notes at night before I go to bed and then have a couple drinks, the next morning it's a surprise to me too.
It's like Roman when he streams. Got him.
We need to do an on-site at Sunny Grove one Wednesday. How would that work? And that sounds like a lot of like moving around of gear and setup, and I'm not saying we can't make it happen. That's a place where I play at a lot on Fridays, and we could probably make a Wednesday stream happen. But
But then you'd also have to depend on Roman to be there, and we all know Roman's not dependable. Like it's probably around his nap time. He probably wouldn't show up. He might.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
That just sounds like a lot of setup. That sounds like a lot of like moving stuff to a brewery and then having to set up cameras and lights, get on their Wi-Fi, hope that their Wi-Fi is reliable. How about, I'll tell you what, Roman, I'll leave it up to you. You bring all the stuff and I'll just show up and drink beer and I'll be there.
Roman, there's
Stream
beer
from your
involved
phone.
with this stream too, buddy. You just have, it's BYOB.
So it could happen, but I'll leave it up to you to set it up because you're retired, so you can get there at like 9:00 in the morning and start setting everything up. And then when I get off work at 2, I'll just show up and everything will be set up and everything will be there.
But then he'll be unconscious, drunk. So
Probably, but
Perfect. That'll make
normal.
for a
solo
very
streaming
interesting one.
anyway.
that's normal.
Everyone can draw on Roman's face.
There you go.
Yes, I support this.
Super chats.
Um,
I draw on his face. $500. A penis goes right on his cheek.
Oh man, 500. Come on, we started that at like $5. Part of it's just for the fun. We do it all for free, but if we can make money, we might as well.
All right, guys. So I think on that note, we'll go ahead and call it a night. But thank you guys, Devon and Blair, for being here, and for the rest of you in the chat for hanging out. I will see you on Wednesday. Do we have another comment? 500. I'll draw on myself. All right. Okay. Like, I think we could scrape together $500. On the next stream, I'm going to set up one of those
GoFundMe.
Patreon, yeah.
Patreon, but what do they call it? Like either like the Venmo or the Cash App or something. I'm going to set up like, all right, let's reach a $500 goal for Roman to draw a dick on himself.
We didn't say what currency. That'll be 500 rubles or something.
All right. But yes, with that, we're going to
Rupees.
say good night. Thank you to Devon and Blair.
Good night,
you all
everybody.
in the chat for hanging out. I will see you on Wednesday for After Work Beers. Good night.
Good night.
Be excellent to each other.
This has been Late to the Party News. Make sure to like and share this video for others to see. Subscribe to the channel and set notifications to all so you get notified every time we go live or post a new video. Thanks and good night.